Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Musings. My name is Dave Nixon and I have the lovely Kate Freeman here with me today, who's blessing me for half an hour of her wisdom and fantastic puns.
Hello, Dave.
Welcome. Thank you very much for coming into the shed that you... last time you were in this room, it was an intro for the gym and it looked a lot different.
It was. It looks very homey now.
Thank you. There's a lot more whiskey now.
Oh, whiskey's good.
Yeah, I'm glad that's your response. I had to lure you here with a coffee, so...
coffee's good too. Yeah.
It is good? Fantastic. Now, as always, I'd love you to introduce yourself, if you could, and give me a good idea of, obviously, your background, what it is that you do now, and sort of how it came to be for you. You can reverse engineer the story. You can start from when you first took your first step. I'm happy for you to tell the story, and that way the listeners can get a really good idea of exactly the position you're in now and why we're catching up.
Great. So, yes, my name is Kate Freeman, and I am a registered nutritionist and founder of the Healthy Eating Hub, which is a private nutrition and dietetics practice in Canberra. And we have had a really big year this year where we've opened a second location, which is a little bit crazy from a business perspective, but good.
That's good.
Mostly good.
Yeah.
And I also sort of launched a membership program, which I feel is pretty much... I'm peaking now, career peaking.
Right, okay.
I feel.
Yes. Hopefully not. Hopefully there's a few more to come.
Yeah, well, my husband tells me that. He's like, you're not peaking, it's
Hopefully
fine.
you're at base camp, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I feel like I've put together a culmination of everything that I have learned over the past 12 years of doing nutrition and helping people with their nutrition. And it's essentially a 12-month habit building program that teaches people how to consistently eat well for the rest of their life. So that's what I'm really passionate about, is that behavior change, helping people feel less confused and less anxiety about food, more in control and confident with the way that they eat and choose food day to day, and then work towards their goals. I think the person that I'm most passionate about helping is the person who is like, I want to be a healthy eater, but I don't. I still find myself eating the things that I don't want to eat, and I'm confused and frustrated as to why I do that. So I like unpacking that with people and helping them get back in control again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things I find most interesting, like, for example, I use this as an example with lawyers. So I'll catch up with a lawyer and talk to a lawyer that's just finished university, and I'll go, something about this, and they go, well, legally, and they give me the whole book, right? And then I'll speak to a lawyer that's been in the industry for 20 years, and they go, yeah, so this will happen, that'll happen, this will happen, that'll happen, so just do this. And it's like, oh, fuck, that's why you get paid significantly more, for one, but two, it's also it's experience. And I feel when I've had discussions with you, it doesn't come from this like, well, from a dietitian point of view, this is what you should be doing and how it should be done. It's like you're looking at the whole person, and almost from this angle of like, okay, what would you do that you could do? What could you do, rather, that you would do? And let's start with that, rather than looking at it from the book perspective. You're looking at it from like the human perspective, and which is not very sexy to sell because it doesn't happen in 6 weeks.
No, it's hard to sell.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that there are a lot of people who have been buying bullshit for a long time and are actually over it now, from a diet perspective.
Sure.
And are kind of wanting to be sustainable and learn the change and the skill. And I guess, that's what I try and say, is that healthy eating is not really about willpower and just being more disciplined. It's about building skill. Like, healthy eating is a skill. To eat in our current environment in a way that helps your body be healthy is hard. It's hard work, and you just need to develop the skills to make it a reality every day. And that just takes time. Nobody gets upset when they pick up a violin for the first time and can't play it. Like, I'm such a bad person.
Yeah.
Like,
my
I'm the
husband will
worst
leave
person.
Me. He's like, what?
Because it's a skill that you have to grow, develop, and practice. And I actually believe that healthy eating is the same thing. And many people, have been eating a certain way for a really long time. And now to change that is hard. There's a lot of habits that need breaking and rebuilding and stuff. So, yeah.
I put up a video the other day, but it's a conversation. We probably had it at some stage. It's like, I looked at, from obviously my angle is always looking from the fitness industry. And then I realized that one of the biggest things for us is like, we're not in the health industry teaching people, we're in the people industry teaching health. And having that shift was a big big shift for me. And that's where it's like, we're not in an obesity epidemic. Everyone's selling it as an obesity epidemic. It's like, no, that's a symptom. It's a misinformation, a mass marketing epidemic. And especially if we can confuse people, then we can sell them a solution. And bullshit's pretty cheap. But the thing is that a lot of bullshit is really expensive. And it's interesting sort of watching people think that the issue is... I even had a client once and they go, my issue is that I like good food. I'm like, well, what the fuck do I like then? It's like I'm healthy because I like bad food. It's like it's the associations that we have with food, and it's interesting sort of, you know, I've had clients that when it came down to it, the reason why they kept weight on was to actually protect themselves from being attracted to men, so that they have bad relationships with men in the past. And so it was almost like a defense mechanism, right? And it's like, there's no 6-week shred that can help that. It has to be a deep conversation, and for, you know, in a safe environment, there's a lot more to it than simply just going up and asking someone. It's like, hey, tell me about your last relationships. It's just like, before I tell you whether you should have a banana or not, let's you know, probably not the best euphemism, but you know what I'm talking about there anyway. And so it's interesting how often. And we were talking about an opportunity you had before, and with a quite a big company that was just like, can you just write a diet plan? And it's like, I can. Yeah. I'm not going to. Yeah. Because it ruins the integrity of the whole. It doesn't fix it almost serves the problem. Yeah, I agree. In fact, I often will say to a client, and someone's taught me this, so it's not my thing. I can't remember where, so I can't credit you. Sorry. But, you know, I draw a line on the whiteboard and I'm like, above the line are behaviours and actions. And so you've got actions that then you repeat enough, it becomes a behaviour. You just do it every day. And following a diet plan, downloading a meal plan off a program or the internet, I mean, you don't even have to pay for them. They're free, is just behaviour management. But if the reason why you're doing things is not above, like, if you can't change your behaviours, it's because you're playing above the line. And at the core of actions and behaviours are thoughts and feelings. And then at the core of them are belief systems. And I think for most people, they're eating a certain way for a lot of different reasons, and it's quite complicated. They hold belief systems about themselves, about food. That leads to certain thoughts. Most of the thoughts they think aren't true about themselves, which lead to feelings, which then lead to actions and behaviours. And so by the time someone's got to me, they've tried usually most of the diets and programs out there, and they're like, I can't do it. And I'm like, to be honest, you've just been playing above the line. We maybe need to get down below the line and think about what are the thoughts and feelings that you have about this stuff, and let's just tackle one thing at a time and get to the bottom of it. And I'm not a psych, so I don't really get into that, but it's just helping people get that awareness, I guess, that it's not so easy. Yeah, one of the biggest things that was like a light bulb moment for me, and I kind of understood it, but it wasn't until I read this sentence, and I can't, like, once again, I don't know whether it was a sentence I had with a coach or if it was something that I mumbled from other people's mumblings, but it was like, you can't fix an emotional issue with a logical solution. And a lot of the time, that's what people are doing. They're like, what's wrong with me? None of these, I can't follow any of these diets. And it's feeding the situation and the issue as well. Yeah. I remember, Wisdom of the Enneagram was a book I was reading, and the guy who founded that, over 100 years ago, talked about how the last thing people will let go of is their suffering. And like, I've looked at myself, and I've looked at, you know, people that I know and people that I come across, and it's like, well, hang on a sec, what suffering am I holding on to? Like, what part of the story did I have in my background that maybe it was, you know, not weight, maybe it was something else, or whatever the case might be, that it's like, I'm holding on to because it's a part of the story, and if I lost that, then who would I be? And it's like, oh fuck, now I've got to go camping and look at the stars for a weekend, right? But the circumstance there was going, a lot of the time it is deeper, and it's, you know, it's not always seeing a psych. Sometimes it's just understanding that, well, nothing is wrong with you. Yeah. You work perfectly fine the way you wired yourself to work. And so it's a matter of, you know, rewiring, so to speak. Yeah, I agree. I think the biggest thing that a lot of the health and fitness industry, particularly from a diet perspective, and you might disagree from a fitness perspective, but is that it sells that you're supposed to just wake up one day and be a clean eater. Right. And, you know, you just quit sugar and you just stop drinking alcohol and all the dirty foods, you don't eat them anymore. Like, you just woke up one day
and you've got a cascading blonde ponytail and a green drink, and you know what, you reconciled with your mother as well.
Yeah,
And
so you're basically describing me here.
But I think there's a lot of people who actually genuinely think, one day I'm just going to wake up and this is all going to feel magical and wonderful for me, and I'm just going to sort my life out. But I don't think that's true. I actually think that it's all behavior. It's habits, behavior, like things we do day in, day out, and that to expect to wake up and just be a healthy eater when you've eaten a certain way for a really long time is hard. So you have to drop that expectation and just be prepared to make changes more realistic and sustainable, so that then you can keep doing it long term. And then as you do a little thing, like just let the accumulated benefit of marginal gain then build up to big changes, but you haven't overhauled it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's I completely agree with that. It's so even when people come to the gym, they're like, oh, you know, I want to get started. I need, you know, they've got the pain point, right? I don't even have to do any work in relation to selling. It's just they're at the pain point.
Yeah.
Their friend referred them. They want to get started.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, let's do 5 days a week. And I'm like, great. I go, how many days a week are you training at the moment? They're like, I'm not, but I need to. And it's like, great. So we're going to do 2 days a week. And they're like, that doesn't work with my map. I need to be all in, or, you know, may as well not do it. It's like, okay. So if you're doing nothing 2 days a week, you're going to get quote unquote results anyway. But I don't care about results. I care about progression. So what we look at doing is start basic and build. And the most important thing there is that you're here in 12 months, or you're at least doing something in 12 months.
Yeah.
There's no rush. You got to this pain point not in a rush. It took you a number of years. And so to get out of it is one small step. But then you have to repeat that small step again and again. And the easiest analogy, I use this in a conversation just the other day, and it's interesting and people can understand it. I'm like, if you look at a golf ball and a golf ball being hit, if it's 1 millimeter difference, like it's only a millimeter, but as down the fairway, it's yards apart, right? And so this is understanding that the 1 millimeter change that we make has exponential results. It's almost, the other thing I had to learn was understanding that we don't get different results by improving our thinking. We have to change it because it's like we're just going to improve the rubbish we already have. It's like okay, you know, my fitness isn't getting much better. Maybe I should improve my thinking about my fitness. And it's like, now I'm just improving my fitness, not getting better. As opposed to going, look, maybe I'm wrong. What would that look like?
Yeah.
And letting go of needing to be right about that and asking for help was one of the biggest things I've learned in my lesson in life anyway.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's I think it's just, life is more complicated than probably it's ever been. I don't know. Maybe it used to be this complicated, or maybe it's just being an adult.
Probably an adult. Yeah. I think there's obviously, like, I believe we're currently living the good old days. We have the highest access to food, highest access to information, highest access to gyms. I mean, gyms didn't exist. Gyms were only created because people stopped moving, and also it was a way of getting people to have fun, right? Like that was the kind of thing, the whole fitness movement in I think it was in the 70s. But before that, it was you worked on the farm. It's like, why would you need to go to the gym if you worked on the farm? Yeah. So it's like, we do live in good times. It's just that it's, excuse me, if you jump on Google, you're just drinking from the fire hose. So it's, you know, where do we get that information?
And absolutely.
Something like a hub allows them to cut through the bullshit and be able to get to it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's it. We kind of like to talk to our clients. We use an analogy of a funnel, which is my colleague Claire's analogy. But basically, she sort of says, you know...
Credit to Claire.
Credit to Claire. I'm totally stealing it, Claire. But, you know, things at the top of the funnel have the biggest impact on your health long term, and the things at the bottom of the funnel have a much smaller impact and are, in fact, affected by the stuff at the top as the things flow through. Because funnels are top, and then...
Yes, they are.
This is not a visual podcast, Kate. I'm using my hands a lot. Anyway. Yeah, so things flow through the top of the funnel and come out. And so sometimes with nutrition, we're like worried about the gluten or the spirulina or that supplement or this individual food, which are all things at the bottom of the funnel.
Yep.
But we've forgotten how to achieve overall diet quality or consistency, and we're not hitting our basic vegetables. We're not eating mostly whole foods, you know, like the foundations. And so sometimes just getting a person to like stop worrying about the, you know, minute stuff, and just focus on getting consistency with the fundamentals. And then we might at some point go, all right, let's tweak this or do that, or do you know what I mean? And
Sure. Yeah.
But often like tweaking little nitty gritty things like sugar or gluten or whatever it might be, often doesn't make a difference in the context of the overall diet just being poor. So, yeah, what were we talking about?
Well, I mean, it goes full circle, right? It goes full circle to the
That's
point
right,
of being
yeah.
like, we're complicating.
Overcomplicating things.
Yeah. And it's, like I said before, it's easy to sell that.
Yeah.
And if it's like, if there's a secret that I'm missing, of course there must be something.
Yeah.
Because I don't have my blonde, long hair yet. By the way, I'm growing that. But I don't have my blonde, long hair yet. I've got the green smoothie, but not the blonde, long hair. So clearly there's something going on here.
Yeah.
And understanding what that could possibly be is an easy way to market to it. And it's sort of like, and I'm sure you're the same as this. It's like, well, how do I get people's attention whilst keeping within my integrity?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
How do you do that?
So one of the things I really paid attention to, if that's, you know, the question of going, making sure that putting content out across all the platforms, that was consistently me.
Yeah.
And so what was so crucial is that when I run seminars, the people that have listened to my podcast and the way that I speak and communicate in my seminars are fucking identical. And then that sounds great. What I had to do then is like, okay, well, what parts of me aren't me then? What's the fat that I need to get rid of? And I'm not talking like, you know, unsaturated, like good, you know, I'm talking about like the fluff that's not me that I'm putting on to maybe get people to like me maybe or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had to look at that. I'm like, dude, this is, you know, and it was tough. And I've got a developmental coach that I work with and understanding things. And there's, you know, I think in the last year alone, I've probably read something like 30 books or more and understanding things from everything from marketing to that kind of stuff. And I really enjoy that, but it's pulling myself apart to make sure that whenever I communicated, it was just going to be consistent.
Yeah.
And whether people like me or not, I mean, that was irrelevant. What was more relevant was my message, and giving myself permission to be able to learn how to communicate that message.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it was getting out of my own way with marketing and selling. Because it was like, oh, marketing's bad or selling's bad. It's like, well, dude, if you can't be the best coach and no one know you. And so it's it was sort of like, for me, really trying to understand that and then going, my message is very genuine. And a part of my fear was maybe people don't think it is. And I'm like, yeah, but it is. And so what I do know to be true is that the truth will always come out and character never lies. I'm like, right, so I need to work on my character and make sure that I can communicate that.
Yeah.
And so, and also like you, I'm in it for the long game.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me to go, what I admire in people is their ability to, you know, unapologetically be themselves, which sounds like a strategy, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's just being like, this is what I know to be true, and work from there. So
I have found that very hard over being on social, because there are different people like in your life who, you know, are all like, this person on social, like it's all just fake and, you know, rah. So then to put yourself out there with like those close people makes you feel like, you know, people are going to judge you for being an overshare or it's just attention seeking or rah. And or that other thing with being on social with, like, I don't have a six pack. Like if I lift up my shirt, it's all a bit wrinkly actually from the babies. And
same.
how many babies do you have? A few babies.
How many clients do I have? I've had a dog sit a lot of dogs. I'm including them.
They give you wrinkles, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Small wrinkles.
I don't know. I'm healthy and I am happy with my body, but it's not the typical online health expert that uses their body as a way of being like, and I used to really struggle that I couldn't just take like this beautiful photogenic photo or stuff. And then I just started thinking, well, you know what? It's not like I don't have hours to, one, take a perfect selfie, and two, it's just not really who I am anyway. And it turns out that when I like don't do my hair and wear pajamas and then do a video and chuck it on Facebook, that people like that more, and have found that I can resonate with people in my sphere and who are going to, I guess, connect with my message more by being real than by being, you know, like trying to be that person on social media who, and so, but it's definitely hard to sell this kind of thing without, you know, it's not like you're dropping like, I can help you like shred, I can help you get your dream body. Because I think there's a lot of people that I work with and be like, you're never going to look like that model.
No.
Ever.
No.
And I want to be like, and that's okay.
Yeah, well, it is. The old quote goes like, the model on the front of the cover doesn't even look like the model on the front of the cover.
Yeah.
Right? But it's also going and understanding that it comes down to like conditional esteem or conditional confidence.
Yeah.
And so one of the biggest things that I speak, so in my seminars, I do get a lot of PTs there. It's called connected coaching. It teaches them how to identify personality traits and learning styles and that. But I get athletes, I get clients and that kind of stuff. And a lot of the time it's getting them to understand where they put conditions on things for one. And conditional happiness is one of the best ways. It's when I lose X, then I'll be happy. It's like, no, you won't. Like, you will never love your body until you love your body, and then you start to see these progressions. You can't hate your body into perfection. And so it was understanding that, you know, even with the conversation around like anxiety and body confidence, I'm like, look, if you want self-confidence, go read a book. If you want body confidence, learn how to move your body.
Yeah.
Right? Do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't care what it is. You'll learn about your body, and then you'll get confidence in your body's ability to do what it needs to do. And the same thing with anxiousness. People are like, I'm anxious. I'm like, no, you're not. You're a human. You're experiencing anxiousness. Yeah. In the same way as that people go, I'm really happy. It's like, actually, you're not a happy, right? You're not an emotion. You're actually experiencing an emotion. And when we can separate that and see these conditions that we put on our progression, we get to really be able to go, oh, I see. So now when I'm angry, I'm not just the emotion of angry, yada, yada, yada. And it gives back power to ourselves to be able to then call ourselves on our own bullshit, which is powerful, and sort of see what conditions we put on fitness, what conditions we put on diet and weight loss and all that sort of stuff. Like, there's no actual number on the scales that will make you happy in like forever. No. So it doesn't mean we shouldn't lose weight or we shouldn't lose fat or we shouldn't change habits. Yeah. But as soon as we realize the condition we put on happiness, we then realize that we're teaching our kids to do the same thing. Yeah. And that's the most confronting, I think.
Oh, 100%. And making them feel like they have to do things to be worthwhile, like that we have to do things to be a worthwhile human, you know. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you how many women I've had in my office who they meet me for the first time and I'm like, how can I help you? And they go, point to themselves. Right. Well, isn't it obvious? And I'm like, what? They're like, well, I have to lose weight. Like, obviously, like, look at me. And I'm like, well, you're a valuable, and, you know, and then as we go along in our relationship to, you know, them have tears streaming down their face after I've told them that you do know that you're okay, like, you're a valuable person just the way that you are. I'm like, you're trying to get healthy and that's awesome, but you actually have worth right now, like, and being able to, you know, even if it's the most unhealthiest day on their food diary, to be able to look at that day and be like, and be happy with yourself despite what you ate, like, that's okay. I ate so much salt and vinegar chips on the weekend.
With the delicious.
With my house moving.
Nice.
I really enjoyed them.
Well, that's like, it's, you know, I got one question from my group online that I'll share with you in just a moment. But to tie into the whole like salt and vinegar chip story, it's like, it's amazing how often I'll speak to someone, because I'm also writing a book at the moment, and I'm just talking to publishers about how that all works. But the premise of it, like, if I could explain it in a sentence, and I'm like, oh fuck, okay, well, there's pages. So
as a hardcover.
Yeah, hopefully. So the idea, it's like, look, we've got health wrong. Let me explain this. It's far healthier to have a beer or a wine with some friends and some good banter than it is to bitch about someone over a salad. And that's how we got health wrong.
Yeah.
And when we can understand that, we start to look at health completely different. Health is not your diet plan and your exercise plan.
Yeah.
It goes so much deeper than that, which kind of ties a little bit into the question. I don't think it does. I think I'm just trying to segue it.
You did good.
Thanks. So Steph asks, I'll be interested to know if Kate has any tips/strategies for helping people to develop a more healthy relationship with food. I think our conversation's guided that a little bit, but I know this is broad. I asked this in the context of using food for comfort or emotional eating.
Oh,
I'm
great.
interested in knowing how to change someone's mindset about how they view food and use it to change the way they feel. And we've got 5 minutes before the end of the podcast. Go.
So, okay. So I deal with my clients. Most of my clients are emotional eaters or have a poor relationship with food. So this is my jam. Great question, Steph.
It is a great question. Yeah.
And so one of the things I do from the very beginning is help the person talk about what they're eating without any shame or guilt. And it's not something that comes easily to them, but they must know that from you, either their personal trainer or their nutritionist, that you don't judge them for that, because that's probably the worst thing you could possibly do. And there are plenty of health professionals who make people feel guilty about their lifestyle, and that actually doesn't help shaming them for their behavior.
No.
So they have to know that you don't judge them, and you have to help them not judge themselves. And if you can help them get to a point where they can look at the most unhealthiest day, where they ate all the things or binged or overate or anything, and made unhealthy choices, and still be, but I'm an okay person, then that's when they're actually going to start to make progress, because it's not really until that they can accept where they're currently at that they can move on from it. Because I think if you are an emotional eater and you are constantly feeling stressed and guilty and anxious about that, it's just always going to be a cycle of self-sabotage for you. That you need to be able to look at it and be like, I'm an okay person, to then be able to move on. So that would be the first thing. And then it's just removing nutrition rules. So the worst thing you could do would be to say, I think you just need to cut out all sugar for the next month, or do, the Whole30, or do a really restrictive, because then all they focus on is what they can't eat. So it would be to then get them to shift their focus and go, well, you can eat that if you want it, but is that what you really feel like right now? Have a think and listen to your body. Could you eat a whole food first? Yeah, have the cake. If you want to eat the cake. But could you grab a banana or a handful of nuts first, see how you feel, and then go and eat the cake? Or do we maybe need to eat a bit more at lunchtime because you're feeling a bit hungry in the afternoons, and then that's leading to poor food choices? Let's bulk out your meal with a bit more protein or maybe some extra veg. Or does that make sense? So I get my clients to focus on what to eat rather than what not to eat. So they've got bit more of a positive focus.
Sure.
And they're not constantly stressing about shouldn't eat the chocolate.
Well, all they hear is eat the chocolate, because it's the same as like when we like the example goes, don't think of a blue tree. You have to create the blue tree, not to think of it. Yeah. Right.
Oh, that's so cool, because like blue tree.
Yeah.
In my brain.
Yeah, that's right. And because it's like, don't eat the chocolate, the brain will recognize it as eat the chocolate.
Yeah.
It's the same as when I go, I know, it's actually saying no, as in N-O, I'll stop listening to you.
Yeah.
Because the brain's saying no, not,
that's so
obviously
deep,
yes.
Dave.
Yeah, deep dev. Hashtag.
Yeah, so, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I say to a client, I was like, when you've got a 2-year-old and they're going and touching the stereo, and you say, don't touch the stereo, like, what do? That's all they can do, is touch the stereo. And if you ask any child developmental person or parenting expert, they're like, the worst thing you can say to a 2-year-old is no, don't touch that, because that's all they want to do is go and distract them with something else. So that's where I'm like, I want you to wake up in the morning and I want you to focus on what can you eat, what to eat. Focus on those foods first. If you eat chocolate, great, eat it. Just move on from it.
I had mint chocolate yesterday.
The mint intense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my favourite.
Yeah, it's my favourite.
Good choice.
Yeah.
And just keep it a really... That was a bad move.
I'm going to edit that out.
Okay. Actually, I didn't share with my husband either, but he doesn't like it, so it's fine. I can keep it all to myself. Same. Yeah, just keep it really positive. I think, I don't know, there's enough body shaming, food shaming in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that would be how I'd answer that question. I think some people do need to probably see a psychologist, or it's more deeper than that. And some people need distraction techniques to learn how to manage their negative emotion, depending on what that trigger is. I emotionally shower.
Right.
Yeah, if I feel stressed.
Okay.
Just
get nude.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
I do.
Yeah.
In the shower.
That's. Yeah.
Yes. And I sit down. Is that weird? But I shower sit. I don't know. Help me out here. Does anyone else do that?
Yeah. I'm probably gonna edit that part out. But no, I'm not. I'm definitely not. Kate, I think I'll probably invite you back in another time if you're open
fine.
to it. I'll put you on like the camera now. You have to be like, yes, I will come back. Damn it. But I think there's heaps more to go through. I wish I had more time to go through that. So thank you very much for jumping on.
No worries.
The
Thanks for
podcast
having me.
today. And for those of you that want to learn more about Kate, where should they go?
Oh, I'm on Instagram.
Oh, the gram.
Yep. KF Nutrition.
Yep.
Is me. And I'm on social, Kate Freeman Nutrition.
Beautiful.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah. And on website would be the Healthy Eating Hub.
healthyeatinghub.com.au.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Well, Kate, until next time, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.
I usually have a sign off that says peace and pizza, so
Oh.
I'm probably going to say that again.
I like
even though
pizza.
I fucking love pizza. I would probably fight a small bear for a pizza.
What type of pizza?
I didn't say what type of bear. I'm thinking bears.
That's a good question too.
Yeah, probably a pork belly would be alright. I'd be up there with that.
A pork belly pizza?
Have you not had pork belly pizza?
No.
Alright, that's what we're having next time we do a podcast for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Indeed.
I would enjoy that.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Bye.